Okay, let's see. Do we have... Okay, we'll probably have to wait until we probably have more than two people on. Do we have at least a little bit of an audience going on, or I just want to double check to see? At least have a little bit of a soft opening, just to know like what else would be. Let's see now. Okay, yeah, it's the same couple of people. Well, hold on. We'll see if we got a little bit more. If we got a little bit, we'll see if the message has been spread. If we got more than one person. Oh, whoa. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, it looks like we got more than one person. Okay, we got more. It's building up, I believe. It's building up. So, let's see. I don't know. I don't even know where the fridge is. The indicator for the amount of people here. Okay, so yeah, looks like we're ready. Looks like we could get things started. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and welcome to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Yes, after a 2-week delay because I was pretty much on vacation, I am finally back to go and give you guys a little bit of the big and crazy animation news that has been going on this week. Now, I know that technically timing, it wasn't necessarily my best, my best aspect in this case, considering that while I was gone, I know that there were like tons of animation news that have been going around, and it's been crazy. I know about the Rugrats. I know about the controversy about She-Ra, because of course people would be complaining about the designs of a reboot. So, I mean, it's no longer a surprise anymore. What else was there? Oh yes, the big crazy Butch Hartman controversy and so much more. I know that all that has been happening, but I still got a whole bunch of big animation news, and I know that there have been a lot of people so far I see in the chat wall. Some people are asking me about how was my trip in California. Well, you will soon find out, actually. You will see. It will be a part of one of the stories in this episode, actually. However, I will say, though, that throughout this episode, I am a little bit sick. Sadly, one thing that I did get during my trip in California was actually a little bit of a flu, and I'm still trying to recover from that. So I'm just going to say right now, don't be surprised if suddenly I would stop in the middle of the episode, and then suddenly I would cough and all that kind of stuff. So just a little bit of a heads up there, in case like you might be wondering, it's just like, why is Matt coughing? Why did AniMat like suddenly get sick and all that stuff? So just a little bit of a warning. So with all that said and done, are you guys ready for the comeback of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Just want to know first off if you guys are going to be ready, because honestly right now I am ready to bring this back to really get things going again, and hopefully the Crazy Cartoon Cast can continue to go and be strong. Finally get that engine rolling after that little piece of silence while I was out in California. Yes, everybody is ready. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and get things started with our first story that we have right over here. So with our first story, what has happened is actually going to be regarding this week with the big release of not Winnie the Pooh, but Christopher Robin. Now, that's the new movie that actually came back, that just came out this week. I'm sure I've already seen, some of you apparently in the chat wall have already seen Christopher Robin already. It's the new big movie that Disney came out with. It's the new live-action remake, and since 2018, we are a little bit dry on those. It's like that one is the only one, while in 2019, well, that's when all the big ones are going to be coming out, like Dumbo, The Lion King, Aladdin, and maybe a little bit more, but those are the three big ones for next year. However, even though that right now people in North America and in several other places of the world, they are enjoying Christopher Robin, there will actually be one place that is not going to be enjoying it. In fact, they will not have it. And that is actually in China. Yes, there we go. Yes, Christopher Robin is actually banned in China. And some of you might be wondering, how is it that this movie in particular ended up getting banned in China? Why is it that they're not showing Christopher Robin in China? Now, as you guys probably know, China does have a few specific rules in order to release some movies, especially like Hollywood movies. There are some things that they're not allowed to show, like if there's a movie that would feature ghosts, they're not allowed to show it in China because of some of the rules and superstitions that are in there. However, this one is actually very interesting. It's actually very political as to why they took it out. So, reading from my source here in the Hollywood Reporter, it's actually stated that no reason was given for the denial, but a source pinned the blame on China's crackdown on images of the Winnie the Pooh character, which is featured in a central role in Christopher Robin. Last summer, authorities began blocking pictures of Winnie the Pooh on social media, given that the character has become a symbol of the resistance in China with foes of the ruling Communist Party, namely Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Bloggers have drawn comparisons between the Pudgy Bear and Xi, which has put the country's censors in overdrive. In June, Chinese authorities blocked HBO sorry, let me just redo that. In June, Chinese authorities blocked HBO after Last Week Tonight host John Oliver mocked Xi's sensitivity over being compared to Winnie the Pooh. So that's pretty much the big reason as to why, or at least the theory as to why people think Christopher Robin ended up getting banned from China is mainly because this Winnie the Pooh right here looks so much like this guy right over here, Xi Jinping, which I don't know how that ended up started. I don't know how some people would look at this face right over here and people would think, you know what, that's Winnie the Pooh. Or I don't know, maybe it's like the way that Xi Jinping would act, like maybe he would just go and act a little bit like Winnie the Pooh, like, oh, we can't cut more wages onto the employees. Oh, bother. Yeah, because that's definitely a face that says, oh, bother. But that's basically the big thing, is that in China, they would often use the image of Winnie the Pooh as a symbol of Xi Jinping, where they're not happy with many of the ways that he is ruling China. So they decided to use Winnie the Pooh as an iconography of this guy right over here. Now, I know that some of you might think that it seems a little bit weird to give like a little bit of a ban on Winnie the Pooh because of this aspect, but I'll give you guys a little bit of an American frame to make you understand a little bit more of what this whole situation is going on. Now, picture this. Imagine if the same thing would happen in America if Donald Trump would put in an entire ban of the Boss Baby. Like, imagine, like, on social media and on the internet, that you got many of the people who are against Donald Trump, not just, like, Democrats, but also, like, anti-fascists, social justice warriors, the resistance, and many groups of people that are against Donald Trump, like the grand majority of Americans, they would often use the iconography of the Boss Baby from the DreamWorks film to have him as a representation of Donald Trump. And considering that we all know that Donald Trump does have a very, very fragile ego, like this man has a serious thin skin problem and just incapable of handling any sort of criticism whatsoever, Trump would go ahead and put on a major ban on the Boss Baby, like put on major censorships everywhere on social media and in America, that people cannot show the Boss Baby, and even go as far as try to ban future episodes of the Netflix show, and even put a ban, like try to stop production at DreamWorks Animation to do any continuation on the sequel of it. That's pretty much what's going on in China, but instead of Donald Trump, is President Xi Jinping, and instead of the Boss Baby, it's Winnie the Pooh. So I'm just giving you that little example of what the situation is going on in China. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that in China there's like a complete ban of Winnie the Pooh. It's not like you're not allowed to show Winnie the Pooh everywhere. Because, if it's still associated with Disney, then you still can show it. It's more kind of like an unofficial thing. It's not like something that Disney has done on purpose, of course. A great example of this is that if you actually go into the Chinese Disney parks, like if you go into Hong Kong Disneyland or in Shanghai Disneyland, you'll find that there actually are some attractions that are based on Winnie the Pooh, whether it be a clone of the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, or there is actually in Shanghai Disneyland, I believe there's this ride that's very similar to the Mad Teacups, but instead of the Alice in Wonderland theme, it's actually replaced with Winnie the Pooh, where you're spinning in honey pots and stuff like that. That's pretty much what's going on in there. So instead of so the big thing with Winnie the Pooh is that instead of just using his iconography as, just like to represent the Chinese president, like as long as it's associated with Disney, it's fine. But it seems that a whole movie, I guess that would be taking it a little bit of a step too far, that they would be worried if that would really fuel the whole iconography of Winnie the Pooh that is very similar to the Chinese president. However, that might not actually be the case, though. There could be other reasons as to why, and Hollywood Reporter actually did mention another reason, and it actually says that, hold on a sec, just need to highlight it properly, there we go. But an insider counters that the decision likely has to do with the size and scope of the film, given the foreign film quota, and the fact that there are several new Hollywood tentpoles in the Chinese market right now. And that could be another valid reason. In fact, this could be the most logical explanation onto all this, is the fact that right now in China, there are just way too many Hollywood movies going on right now. Because you got to keep in mind, we are in summer, and during the summertime, especially this year, there have been tons of new movies, tons of new big movies, where now every week there's a new feature film that's coming out that's from a big studio, and it's like a major big deal. Like, they would keep releasing those one after another, and it's honestly been nuts. And in China, like, considering that we've just entered August, the thing is that in August, China is actually going to get a lot of they're actually going to get a lot of the July movies. So they're going to be getting big films like Ant-Man. They're going to get Skyscraper. They're going to get Hotel Transylvania 3. They're going to get Mission Impossible. I think they're going to get also Teen Titans Go, but you get what I mean. They're going to get all these major movies, and it's a little bit tough to really know where to really stick Christopher Robin into all this. And what's actually very interesting to note, though, is that technically this is not the first time this year that Disney actually had a movie that's banned in China, that they're not allowed to show it. Because apparently this already happened before, where apparently A Wrinkle in Time did not get a Chinese release date, which also played into a major factor onto why that film ended up becoming a box office bomb. So this is not the first time that it really happened, but for now, we do know that Christopher Robin is not going to be airing in China, and it could be for the reasons of politics, that they don't want to have the image be prominently present, or it could be just the fact that there's just too many big Hollywood movies that are going to be coming out, and Christopher Robin did not necessarily get the quota in there. So we don't know what's going on. We don't know like the true reason, but both explanations are pretty much logical. But I will say one of them is definitely a pretty crazy explanation. Like, it would be nuts to know if the real reason would be for the political reason, because Pooh looks too much like Xi Jinping. And that would be insane to think about. So, who knows? Excuse me. I just had lunch not too long ago, but this is actually pretty. This is honestly pretty crazy to think about how, one of the most innocent franchises, one of the most innocent things that Disney has ever created, Winnie the Pooh, and then suddenly it's just getting banned. It's just now it's no longer welcome in China. And honestly, if that is the explanation, I wouldn't be surprised if China would actually have a legitimate talk with Disney about getting rid of the entire Winnie the Pooh image. Maybe they could actually go and do that in the future. Who knows? But I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see with what's going on with Christopher Robin. Maybe in the future they could change their mind and actually slip in Christopher Robin onto China, but for now it looks like the Chinese are not going to be getting Christopher Robin anytime soon. Okay, so with all that said though, I would like to know from you guys, and I'm going to go into the chat wall and I want to know, what do you guys think about the whole news about Christopher Robin getting banned in China? Do you actually think it's for the political reasons because of Xi Jinping not wanting to be associated with Winnie the Pooh at all? Is it because of his sensitivity, or is it for completely different reasons? What do you guys think? I would like to know what's going on right over here. So let me see in the chat wall. Do you guys have any comments regarding what's going on right over here? Let's see now. Okay, guys, let's just keep. Oh, hold on. Do I call it bullcrap? Do I find it that I call bullcrap that Christopher Robin is getting banned in China? I know the reason is weird, but it could actually be the case. Very hilarious, honestly. Pooh is so harmless, and now China is calling it insensitive. Yeah, and I mean, really think about it. Out of all the franchises that Disney has done, Winnie the Pooh is the most innocent of them all, and then suddenly now, like, the Chinese are getting, like, really mad at it and just, like, they're just banning it. Like, apparently Pooh, like, it's kind of weird to really think that there is a place where Winnie the Pooh is not okay. Like, just to show his face, it's like, how dare you? But, yeah, okay, I know, like, I see a lot of people right now, they feel like, oh my god, they're calling bullcrap on it. I know, it sounds weird. It sounds insane. The factor that, like, right now it's gone to the point where the president of China is just really mad at Winnie the Pooh that he doesn't want to see any iconography of Winnie the Pooh anymore. You know, it is actually pretty interesting. Unlike in Too Smart for Strangers. Oh, good God. You know, that's the funny thing with Winnie the Pooh. I feel like right now, there are so many things of Winnie the Pooh out there right now where it feels like now it's gone to the point where Winnie the Pooh, there are things of Winnie the Pooh that Disney doesn't want to talk about. Like, there are actual Winnie the Pooh things that Disney just wants to hide on the side. Like, they want to hide it in the same corner where they put in Song of the South. Let's see. We give China 2 best Winnie the Pooh rides, and this is how they repay us? Wow. Wow. You say that like it's somehow we gave a gift with Winnie the Pooh, and like somehow the Chinese don't feel like they're thankful for it. It's like, you should be thankful for the things that we have given you with Winnie the Pooh, and now you're trying to ban him in your country? How dare you disrespect the Winnie the Pooh? Oh my god, I miss you guys so much. Okay. Ah, boy. But I think with all that said, let's see. Chinese governmental banning system is an oxymoron of a system. Also, hi, first time being able to join in the live stream. Well, welcome, dude, welcome. Okay, so, hopefully you're enjoying this whole thing, and hopefully you're having fun so far. But yeah, China hates poop. Yeah, I see, apparently, so yeah, it's pretty much turned into a big battle of China versus Winnie the Pooh. Why did Tigger stick his hand in a toilet? He was looking for poo. Bruh, come on. Okay. Anyways, is it because he's poo? Is it because he's poo? Yeah, like, I guess like that. You know, that actually could be a good point right over there. I guess like the Chinese president doesn't like to be called a piece of crap, even though like they're pointing towards the stuffed bear. They're not like, he's not necessarily happy. It's like, stop calling me Pooh. I will put a ban on all Poohs. Okay. Anyways, with all that said and done, I think we're pretty much good with this. I think we're pretty much all good with the whole Chinese Christopher Robin story. So I guess we'll have to wait and see with what's going to happen with Christopher Robin, and if the Chinese will ever actually see Christopher Robin. But for our next story right over here, we're going to be still sticking with Disney, in which even though this might actually get a hit in the box office with Christopher Robin, they might not actually get a lot of money with it. Now, there is another movie, however, that they are making tons of money. And this week, they actually hit a major milestone. I've already talked about this a few times before in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. But now we're going to be revisiting this movie as it hit a brand new big milestone. And yes, I'm talking, of course, about Incredibles 2, where right now, this week actually, the movie managed to cross $1 billion at the box office. This officially makes Incredibles 2 the 7th animated feature to ever surpass that milestone. And on top of that, it is also the first time ever that an animation studio has now 3 animated films that has crossed $1 billion. Yes, Pixar now has 3 animated films with it, starting with Toy Story 3, and then afterwards there was Finding Dory, and now they can add in Incredibles 2 on their list. Now, if you guys may recall, Incredibles 2 has broken so many box office records beforehand, especially when it came out in theaters. Like, when it came in on its opening weekend, it got the biggest, like, it broke so many records for animation already, like the biggest single day, the biggest Thursday preview, and even the biggest weekend ever, with $182.7 million on its opening weekend alone. And also right now, it does hold the biggest, well, actually, it is the highest grossing animated feature of all time at the domestic box office, where, as I'm recording this right now, it has a total of $579.5 million, just domestically alone. And as I'm recording this right now, in total, the worldwide box office accumulation that Incredibles 2 has is right now $1,006 million. That's the big total that it has so far. So now, yes, it has officially surpassed $1 billion, which honestly might have surprised very few at this point, because Incredibles 2 really is a major powerhouse. In fact, I think in this summer alone, Incredibles 2 is actually the biggest summer 2018 powerhouse so far. I don't know if there is another movie that has yet to really make it into the same numbers as Incredibles 2. Actually, let me just go back a little bit. I think there is. Yeah, okay, well, there is one. The only exception, of course, is Jurassic World Part 2. That's the only film in this summer that it managed to surpass that and made so much more. Like, Deadpool 2 is, like, close behind, but so far, yeah, it's Jurassic World 2 and Incredibles 2, where they actually made so much money. Like, they're making the most money at the box office so far, and the two that have managed to cross $1 billion. And if you do include also, of course, Avengers Infinity War, which I think right now that movie, yeah, hold on a sec, yeah. Avengers Infinity War has already surpassed $2 billion at the box office, so right now those are the big movies. Oh, and of course, there is Black Panther that also crossed $1 billion at the box office, so yeah, this really does show that Disney is a major powerhouse with their superheroes. And like, we got Incredibles 2, even though that's not a Marvel movie, it is really making the big bucks at the box office. And this is really unsurprising that it managed to do that. In fact, I think it officially crossed the $1 billion mark just before August would actually come in. So this is honestly really big so far that Incredibles really did manage to cross that big milestone over there. But at this point, even though, yes, it is official, now it crossed $1 billion, I'm sure a lot of people so far are wondering, how is it going to go in terms of like all-time numbers in terms of animated features? Are we going to see Incredibles 2 really go big in terms of the box office? Are we going to see it go high, or maybe even go as high in the numbers of like Minions and Frozen? And I think at this point, considering that we are in August and it's been like, what, a month and a half now that Incredibles 2 is in theaters, it's tough to say. I don't really know at this point. I don't think it's really going to be making it there, because right now Incredibles 2 has already been released in many of the big major countries, so I don't necessarily see it surpass either Minions or Frozen. But one thing that I do think is actually quite possible at this point is that I wouldn't, honestly, what I feel like it could be possible is that Incredibles 2 could actually make it as the highest grossing Pixar film of all time. Because if we look into the worldwide box office numbers, right now, Incredibles 2, there are only two movies that it needs to go and surpass. There's Finding Dory, which it made $1,028.6 million, and Toy Story 3, which that film has $1,067 million. And that could actually be something that could be quite possible that Incredibles 2 could surpass. It's not going to be, honestly, for me, I feel like it wouldn't be surprising at all if it will beat out Finding Dory, but I feel like Toy Story 3 could actually be one that they could actually get out. Yeah, it could be, I could definitely see, Incredibles 2, at the end, it'll ultimately stop somewhere maybe $1,030 million. I that could actually be a strong possibility if at the worldwide box office or in the international waters they're still going to see Incredibles 2 and stuff like that. Honestly, I could see that big push actually go and happen. In fact, there is one thing that I feel like there could be a little bit of a possibility that we can see, and that'll depend on the major push throughout the weekend. And honestly, I could actually see Incredibles 2 also make another big record, being the first ever animated feature where at the box office it could actually make $600 million. Like I said before, as I'm recording this, Incredibles 2 is actually very, very close. It's nearly at $580 million. So all it needs is just a $20 million push, and maybe that could take a little while. It could take maybe a few weeks or so that it could possibly happen to get up to that moment, but I feel like it could be a strong possibility that I can actually see happen right now. And I mean, with Incredibles 2, it is still a strong powerhouse at the box office, even though right now it does have a lot of strong competition, like Mission Impossible Fallout. If we look into, hold on, just want to go into last weekend's box office, 27th and the 29th, we still see Incredibles 2, it is still making a little bit of money. It's in 7th place, where it's making over $7 million on the box office weekend. So if it continues making those little numbers where during the weekend it'll make 6 million, it'll just make 6 million or 5 million. If it continues that route, then we will see it break that record where it could actually make more than 600 million. So that could actually be a very strong possibility right there, where we will still see Incredibles 2 break some records. But I don't think Incredibles 2 is going to really break the big records. I'm not going to see Incredibles making it up there as among one of the highest grossing animated features of all time. But I think for now, it should aim a little bit small, where it's gonna go and for me, I feel like we could possibly see some numbers in terms of Pixar. Maybe at the most we could see Incredibles 2 be the highest grossing Pixar film of all time. That's at least my prediction on what could be the thing. So who knows? Let's see. I think overall that could be my thoughts on it, but I will say overall though, congratulations to the team at Pixar for their continuing to break brand new box office numbers And with Incredibles 2 being the 7th animated feature of all time, being surpassing $1 billion, still making that amazing milestone. So, with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall right over here, and I would like to know from you guys, what do you guys think about, hold on a sec, just want to go and fix something up. There we go. Wait, actually just want to go and, here. Just want to go and do this. Okay, there we go. Anyways, as I was saying, I would like to know in the chat wall right over here, what do you guys think about the brand new record of Incredibles 2? Do you guys see it continue climbing? Do you guys think it will still break some records? Do you think, like, right now it's just done? Or do you think maybe we will see some brand new big records from Incredibles 2? What do you guys think right over here? So I'm going to pass the mic on to the chat wall, see what people have to say in here. Just want to see. Incredibles 2 reaching $1 billion is incredible. Cue Seinfeld theme. Okay, well, there's that. Let's see now. Is there anything else? Just want to see. Not really? Okay. Yeah, don't worry. I have taken care of the troll problem. Well, so far for now. Okay, anyways. Do we have any... Do we have... Okay, yeah. It could get... Okay, some people think it could get more. Since I love The Incredibles 2, I am really happy that it got to where it is, though I feel like it may be done. I wouldn't mind to see if it climbs up in the numbers. It's on its last legs, but hey, you never know. So, I see a lot of people might have a little bit of doubt. I mean, like, we are talking about a movie that was released in the middle of June, so, well, who knows? Let's see. Let's be honest. Who didn't expect this to become a hit? But honestly, it does deserve that billion and proves that Disney is on fire in the superhero market. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to mention this in the previous story. Did you know Richard Sherman of the Sherman Brothers wrote 3 new songs? Oh, okay, for Christopher Robin. Oh, I didn't know that. That sounds interesting. But for now, I'm just sticking to Incredibles 2, and so far it does seem like a lot of people are pretty mixed onto the answer. A lot of people would love to see the numbers, like, really climb higher. Let's see. I still think it will be Frozen's record because it hasn't released in some big markets like Germany and Spain. That could be possible, and I mean, like, there are still a few markets that it has yet to be released, so when it's going to be released in more different countries, then we are going to see the numbers boost up. How much, though, I don't know, but for me, I still feel like we could see this as the highest grossing Pixar film of all time, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see, but who knows? But I think with all that said and done, I think we're pretty much good with Incredibles 2. I think we're pretty much happy with it. So with our next story that we have right over here, this is actually going to be one of the older stories that we got. This is actually a story that came out late last week, but I feel like, you know what, it is still pretty interesting to go and discuss about this. I do have a lot of things that I want to say about this little piece of news right over here. So, rather if it's something that you guys are going to be excited for, however, I will say that I think it is something that we should also be a little bit cautious about, because we are going to be going to Sony, and we're going to be talking about Genndy Tartakovsky. Yes, Genndy Tartakovsky has signed on with Sony Pictures Animation, where he is going to be working on 2 brand new animated features, and this time around, they're actually not going to be Hotel Transylvania. Yes, finally, Sony decided, hey, you know what? Maybe Genndy Tartakovsky can do more than just Happy Madison cartoons. Okay, now in here, it actually states, using my source here in Animation Magazine, where it says Sony Pictures Animation has signed the animation vet on 2 direct-to-DVD movies. No, that's not the case. They have signed him to direct 2 feature film projects, an R-rated comedy titled Fix, and an epic action-adventure, Black Knight, which Tartakovsky will also write. We also got a couple of quotes. where we got one from Genndy Tartakovsky himself saying, "I'm very excited to start this new adventure with my Sony family." Sony family. It sounds like the kind of family that if someone asks about your black eye, all you can say is just, "I fell." But anyways, where was I? With their trust and support, we are going to do something unique and different and push animation to the next level. We also got a quote from the Sony Animation president, Christine Belson, where she states, "Genndy is one of the most singular voices in animation today, and we are overjoyed to have him develop his next original features at Sony Pictures Animation, where he began his theatrical career nearly a decade ago. His imagination and talent have no boundaries, which will be made abundantly clear by two wildly different movies he'll be directing next." And so far, we don't have any other piece of information regarding these movies other than just their title and what type of movie they will be. They don't even have a release date so far, and Animation Magazine has listed their upcoming movies that they have coming up, including Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and a couple of their films that are coming out in 2020. And that's all we know that's coming from Sony Animation, and that's all we know coming from Genndy Tartakovsky and his upcoming projects that he has right over here. Now, I will say that when I first heard about these two projects, Fixed and Black Knight, I will say it is actually very interesting, and I think this is honestly something that Genndy Tartakovsky needs right now. Because in terms of his movies, and in terms of the theatrical stuff that he has done, literally all he has ever done is just the Hotel Transylvania films. And I'm just going to say right now, maybe some of you are probably familiar with this, but I know I might be in the minority when I say this, but honestly, with the Hotel Transylvania films, I find Genndy Tartakovsky is such a terrible director. I mean, holy crap, with the stuff that he has presented in there within the Hotel Transylvania films, I know that in terms of the flaws, a lot of people would go and immediately blame onto stuff like either Adam Sandler and his creative choices, or Sony Pictures and the choices that are brought up by the executives. But honestly, I do feel like many of the problems, like Genndy Tartakovsky does play a major factor with the way that he pretty much makes them as cartoons. I know like a lot of people would defend Hotel Transylvania by saying, "Oh, don't look at this as movies, look at them as cartoons." Well, that's the reason why they suck in the first place. Like, when you look at them as movies, they are garbage. And I mean, those are movies, so they are garbage movies. Like, the scripts that they have, they're just one by one, every single one of them, they're just flat out terrible. And Genndy Tartakovsky's solution is just, "Oh, let's make the animation as over the top as possible in the hopes that people would get distracted, like they won't notice the bad script that we have." And that's what makes him bad. That's what makes his animation bad in the Hotel Transylvania films, is the fact that the animation is used as just a distractor from looking away from the stuff that's obviously a major problem in those films. So, with all that said, like, I've already explained more of my thoughts on, like, the Hotel Transylvania films and the problems that they have in my reviews. So, I'll just leave them in there already. So, but with this, I do feel like this does give Genndy Tartakovsky a second chance. And I do hope that at best, that they would be able to take this and they would actually make movies out of it. That this could give Genndy Tartakovsky a second chance to actually go and make a legitimate movie instead of some cheap-looking Happy Madison cartoon. Like, maybe Fix, it could be the same case. Maybe he could do a little bit of a cartoon, considering that it is an R-rated comedy. Like, one thing that I am worried about is that I hope this is not going to be very similar to Sausage Party, because Sausage Party has already done the, "Hey, this is an animated cartoon, but it's for adults, so let's put in a lot of swearing, let's put in a lot of sex jokes and all that kind of stuff." Like, Sausage Party already covered that bit, so Genndy Tartakovsky would have to figure out a little bit more about what to do with this R-rated comedy, which also, I gotta say, it is actually very interesting that a major animation studio like Sony Animation would actually be willing to go and do an R-rated comedy, considering that, like, basically all their stuff that they've done it's just geared towards kids. Like, they've barely made a single, like, honestly, at least in recent years, it's been a long time that they have done a movie where it feels like they're also doing it for adults as well. Because, like, when you look at many of the stuff that they've done, like Smurfs or Cloudy or Hotel Transylvania or the Emoji Movie and stuff like that, they're just doing movies exclusively for kids. And now here they are, now they're going to make a movie exclusively for adults. So, I don't know if they would have the capabilities of make something like Fritz the Cat or something like that, but I don't know. It is definitely going to be something different that we'll just have to wait and see with how that goes right there. But then there is also another very fascinating one, which is Black Knight, which that one sounds like they'll bring in Genndy Tartakovsky in a more serious route, where this is going to be the side of Genndy Tartakovsky where we have only seen during Samurai Jack or Star Wars Clone Wars. And that's going to be an interesting thing, a new type of epic adventure like that, but also on the big screen. So that could actually be a new direction that could really push Genndy Tartakovsky into a brand new level. Maybe this is something that he can actually take something seriously and, you know, take that as an actual movie. So that could actually work out. Maybe it could be something that his vision can actually work out well onto feature animation. Who knows? However, there is something that I will mention about this whole scenario right over here, where I do have some major doubts about how it could even happen in the first place. Because that's the big thing, because this is not the first time that we are in this scenario right over here. Because the thing is, it could be quite possible that Sony Animation could take these ideas and immediately throw it in the trash, where they're just going to immediately, like, throw it in the garbage and just use that as an excuse to just keep Genndy Tartakovsky so that he could stay and make more Hotel Transylvania films, like make Hotel Transylvania 4 and Hotel Transylvania 5. If you don't believe me, look what happened 4 years ago, when Sony Animation signed on Genndy Tartakovsky to make a couple of original animated features. One of them was an original movie called Can You Imagine, and another one was a film adaptation of Popeye. And from there, audiences were actually very intrigued, and they were very excited to see what Sony and Genndy would do with those projects. Especially when you see, like, many of the concept arts, and you see the animation test itself, it did get some positive reactions. However, there is one little group that actually really hated those projects, and that is Sony Animation. It is actually Sony Pictures. They actually flat out told Genndy that they did not like it. And because of his contract, he had no choice but to pretty much stay at Sony, and all Genndy has done since is just Hotel Transylvania. Literally, Hotel Transylvania, Hotel Transylvania, Hotel Transylvania. Rather it be the little cartoon before the Emoji Movie, or just two worthless sequels. All he has done is just Hotel Transylvania. He did have that one little break where he left Sony and he did the final season of Samurai Jack, but that's pretty much it. Other than that, all he has done is just be ball and chain at Sony, where all he did is just Hotel Transylvania. And that could be the similar case right over here, where maybe the people at Sony just did not like the ideas that Genndy brought up with either Fix or Black Knight. And especially the factor that it's going to be hard to really imagine if in here they would actually do something like Fixed, or they would, because the thing is, it is very unusual for a major studio like Sony Animation to go and actually make an R-rated comedy. And this is something that they cannot put in a lot of risk. This is going to be another project where they really got to go and lower the budget a lot. Like, they got to put in like just $20 million and that's it. Because as it is an R-rated comedy and an R-rated movie, it's not necessarily going to make a lot of money. I know that a lot of people are going to bring up examples of R-rated movies recently that made a lot of big bucks, but you got to keep in mind, films like Deadpool, Well, that's because they're also superhero films, and superhero films nowadays, they make a lot of money. So, of course, something like Deadpool is going to be something that would be wildly successful. But we're talking about like an R-rated comedy. We're talking about another, something that's in the veins of like Sausage Party. So we don't know what's going to be happening in there. So hold on a second. Looks like we do have another troll. So I'm just going to go and fix that up right over here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So just got to fix that up. But anyways, yeah. That is kind of the big thing, is that honestly, I feel a bit doubtful if we even are going to get projects like this actually happen. Maybe Sony is just going to reject them if they don't like the idea, and they're just going to keep Genndy Tartakovsky since he is under contract. So who knows what's going to happen. But I will say, it does sound like pretty interesting ideas, you know, honestly. If Genndy can actually think of something interesting, maybe something good, maybe they could actually do something well with Fix. And honestly, for me, I feel excited for I feel like I'm really excited for Black Knight. That actually sounds like something that could actually turn out to be really epic and really awesome. So that could actually be something that could work out well. But I don't know, like the big question is it even going to happen in the first place? Is this just an idea that they just thought up? Is this just like a little excuse for Sony to just keep Genndy Tartakovsky within the realm of Sony? I just don't know. So that's the big thing. That's where I feel like it's a little bit doubtful. I'm glad that Genndy is no longer doing any more Hotel Transylvania garbage. Like, that's nice, but I don't know, like, these projects right here is just that, last time you told us that you're gonna make more original stuff, it didn't really go well, so I am a little bit on the fence. I am a little bit doubtful if it's really going to exist in the first place, considering our past experience. So, with all that said, I'm just gonna go ahead and pass it on to the chat wall right over here. What do you guys think about this news right over here with Genndy Tartakovsky making more original animated features at Sony Animation? Do you think they are even going to happen in the first place? Are you guys excited for these projects? Do you feel like they sound like good ideas? Do you feel like it's not? What do you guys think? Let's see. Plot twist, Black Knight is a Hotel Transylvania spinoff. I would not be surprised if they would do something like that. Or no, actually, what would actually be better? If Fix would actually be a Hotel Transylvania spinoff. Like, just to give people their legitimate moments so that they can officially have a naked Mavis. Maybe that could be the case. Let's see. Let's hope Sony opens itself to more ideas. Let's hope so, actually. Let's see. Understandable since Hotel 3 is where the franchise is now flat like Ice Age. Yeah. Honestly, it would be a very smart decision if Sony just stops Hotel Transylvania. I mean, like, if you guys like the trilogy, that's great. And honestly, it's best to just, like, keep it that way, keep it so that you like the Hotel Transylvania trilogy and not make it like Ice Age where they would just run it to the ground where even the fans would give up on it. So at least just have it like that. Do you think animation studios should have adult labels? If you mean adult labels, kind of like having, like Adult Swim for Cartoon Network and stuff like that, I honestly don't know, because R-rated animated features is still a bit of a novelty. It is still something that is very rare. So we would have to wait and see if R-rated animated features would be something that would be more common before we actually would see adult labels within animation studios like at Illumination or Sony or DreamWorks or something like that. Let's see. On a different note, I think this year would mark the 35th anniversary of Twice Upon a Time. Oh, that could be possible. Let's see. Anything else about what's going on? Anything else, like your thoughts on Fixed or Black Knight? I would love to hear what you guys think about these projects. Do you think if they're going to work? If you think they're actually going to happen? Let's see. No, so far it's just raining. people spewing out random stuff so far. Don't really see anything. Anything. Anything else? Anything else? I still wish. Oh yeah, yeah. Some people still think. Yes, people still wish that. Oh, maybe. Oh, they wish Medusa is still on board. They still wish Popeye is still on board. You just gotta learn to let it go. All right, if these films get canceled, congratulations, I'm a prophet. Yay! I don't know. It's just like I hope Black Knight is traditionally animated. I'll just say right now, no, it ain't. No, I don't think they're gonna take that risk right there. Okay, so I love to see an adult geared adventure epic. So I'm hoping Black Knight turns out good. That could be a possibility. Maybe it looks like something that maybe Black Knight could also be something that could be like either PG-13 or maybe R-rated. So like with the final season of Samurai Jack, we do see Genndy Tartakovsky entering a little bit more into more adult-oriented territory. So that could be something. All the movies get canceled. Emoji Movie 2 gets greenlit. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if that is something Sony would do. I mean, would you put it beside them? And I mean, they keep bragging that Emoji Movie has made money, so that could actually be a possibility. So, with all that said, I think we are so far pretty good with the old news about Genndy Tartakovsky. So, let's wait and see if Sony is actually serious in having Genndy Tartakovsky make non-Hotel Transylvania stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and move on to our next story, which is something that is a little more recent in terms of the news. And this is actually going to be based on a story that I personally really enjoyed. And finally, this is something that I've heard of for a very long time, but it looks like now it could actually become a thing. And what I'm talking, of course, is actually going to be Andy Serkis's adaptation of Animal Farm. Yes, Netflix has officially purchased the rights to go and create a film adaptation of Orson Welles' iconic novel Animal Farm, in which Andy Serkis is going to be directing the feature. And not only that, but he's also going to be producing it along with many other people, including Matt Reeves, who is the director of the 2 sequels of the recent Planet of the Apes films, which includes Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes. We also got a quote here from Andy Serkis himself, and reading from my source here in Variety, it has stated, we are incredibly excited to have finally found the perfect creative home in Netflix for this extraordinary zeitgeist work by George Orwell. On top of that, to be reunited with my great friend Matt Reeves, which is with his acute sensitivity, storytelling intelligence, and honesty and command in this realm, is to have the very best scenario for our long-held passion to bring this fable alive. Now, like I said before, this project was actually something that Andy Serkis wanted to do for a long time. Back in 2012, he wanted to do a TV series or a TV movie based on Animal Farm. And to give you guys a little bit of a little summary of the story, if you don't know Animal Farm, it states, the story, published in 1945, is an allegory for Stalinist Russia, in which animals rebel against the humans who own the farm and adopt the rule of equality for all. By the end of the story, a group of pigs have begun ruling the animals. So it's pretty much well known to be a satire on communism. That's the whole point of Animal Farm. And if you guys have seen my videos, then you're probably familiar with it, since I have done a review of Animal Farm, and I have even placed it, not just the story, but I'm talking about the 1954 animated film adaptation of it, where I've done a review, and also I placed it as one of the underrated animated feature films, which also it is marked in history as the first ever British animated feature film, or at least the first British animated feature film with a narrative story. So the thing with Andy Serkis, what he wants to do with it is very much like the upcoming Mowgli movie, where he wants to do it all in motion capture, where you get an all-star cast and they're all in motion capture and they're represented as like different animals, where now they're going to be like pigs and they're going to be goats and they're going to be sheep and they're going to be horses and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty much like Mowgli. And the reason why Netflix is actually involved is actually because recently Netflix actually just bought the entirety of Mowgli. They took it off of Warner Brothers' hands, and it's not going to be released in October of this year, but rather it's actually going to be released sometime next year in 2019. Now, of course, it is going to be in the streaming service, but I did hear it might also get a release date at the same time. So let's go back into the Mowgli trailer, and just to give you guys a little bit of an example of what these animals are going to look like. So if you guys may recall, actually, hold on a sec. Sorry, I have a little bit of an Apple commercial. Whew. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, hold on, I gotta fix up something, actually. There we go. Alright, okay, you got a little bit of a volume there. Okay, yeah. So, it's gonna be a little bit like this. Like, you see, CGI animals. It's a little bit like, well, a little bit similar to what we got with the 2016 Jungle Book movie, but instead, like I said, all these animals, they're gonna be, motion capture. So, imagine this. Like, imagine all these different animals. Like, you got all these things, everything that's happening, as you can see in the trailer, but instead of jungle animals, you got farm animals. That's the idea of what's going on. So that's pretty much the whole idea. Yeah, and you also got a little bit of the snake there. So that's basically the big thing, is that right now Netflix is giving Animal Farm a chance. And honestly, I do find it really cool because even for me, not only do I love the animated film, I also love the original story of Animal Farm. And seeing it come to life in a new way, that is actually really awesome to see a brand new adaptation, and especially coming from someone like Andy Serkis, who does know his way around motion capture, of course. So maybe it's going to look a little bit weird at first, but actually seeing the story come to life, that is going to be something that could be interesting. Now, rather how accurate it is going to be, that I'm not sure, but it is going to be a pretty cool idea to see a brand new adaptation. I mean, it's been a while. I think the last time was in 1999, where there's this, there's a TV movie, and I think it had Patrick Stewart as Napoleon, and it pretty much it was a live action film. And I think it's like one of those movies where we see live action animals, but I think like their mouths are CGI or something like that. It could be one of those films. It's been too long since I've seen it, so I couldn't really remember. But that was the last full-on adaptation of Animal Farm that we've gotten. And seeing a new version, seeing a new story come to life with Animal Farm, that I think is actually really epic. That I think is actually really awesome, and something that I think it's honestly very much worth it. So that is something that I am pretty excited to see, is the story of Animal Farm come to life. And considering that we do have Andy Serkis on board, maybe we will actually have another all-star cast, because that is the big thing with Mowgli as well. Just want to see, like, in Mowgli, we do have like a big all-star-studded cast. I mean, of course, Andy Serkis is going to be there, where he's going to be like one of the characters. Maybe he'll be one of the pigs, like rather it be Napoleon or maybe Snowball. But like even in Mowgli, like he managed to bring in people like Christian Bale, Kate Blanchett, Benedict Cumberbatch, Naomi Harris, and so much more. Like, he's got those people on board, so maybe he'll bring in another all-star cast to play characters such as Benjamin, or Boxer, or Napoleon, or Snowball, or any of those people or any of those animals. It would actually be really cool to see. So honestly, I am pretty optimistic to see what this adaptation of Animal Farm could be. Hopefully Andy Serkis will do his best with Netflix to bring in something that could actually work out. With all that said, though, I want to know from the chat wall, I want to know, what do you guys think about this new adaptation of Animal Farm? Do you think Andy Serkis is going to do a good job at it? Do you think Netflix will find a way to screw it up? Maybe we'll get, like, something in the veins of, like, Bright, but with Animal Farm? Hopefully not, but what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to work out? Let's see. With Mowgli being shoved over to Netflix, and now this, it's good to see a regular customer to the service that's not Adam Sandler. Maybe Serkis will actually bring something of quality. That is actually too. You do bring up a very good point. Maybe this could help Andy Serkis become a regular for Netflix, so that they'll have more than just Adam Sandler bring in some exclusive content in there. So maybe Andy Serkis could actually bring in a brand new flavor onto Netflix. That is a very good point in there. Let's see. I'm interested in Animal Farm and Mowgli on Netflix. I think he can do a good job, since he is doing a good job with Mowgli, but still. Well, first of all, we don't know about Mowgli just yet. We don't know if that is actually going to be released. Well, we don't know how that movie is going to be overall, even though the trailer is actually pretty impressive. We'll have to see with what's going on. Let's see. I don't know how Netflix drops an entire season of the show. Well, I guess that's kind of a random thing about Netflix. I'll just wait and see. The style of Mowgli could translate well to Animal Farm, but I need to see the final product to be certain. Yeah, you definitely, you do have brought up a good point. It is true that we would actually have to wait and see. Like, okay, we do know how Andy Serkis can bring jungle animals to life, but we don't know how he's going to bring farm animals to life. And yeah, considering that Mowgli now has a 2019 release date, honestly, at this point, it could be possible we'll see Animal Farm get something like a 2020 release date, kind of like separate a little bit from Mowgli and stuff like that. So that's the earliest that I am expecting, considering that now things with Mowgli is pretty much done right now. Like, Andy Serkis is all good with it. Now it's in the hands of Netflix. So it could be possible right now he is in production of Animal Farm with Matt Reeves. So that could be something. Let's see. Guys, don't worry. Both Mowgli and Animal Farm will be released in theaters. Actually, it never said anything about Netflix. Actually, hold on. Oh, actually, it does say something. Actually, it is unclear if Animal Farm will get any kind of theatrical release. A Netflix representative told Variety that Mowgli will have a theatrical release to go along with its release on the streaming service, but provided no details. The Netflix news was first to be reported by Deadline. So that's the thing. We don't fully know if Animal Farm is actually going to get a theatrical release date. We know Mowgli will get one, but we're not 100% sure with Animal Farm. So for that, we'll just have to wait and see. As a huge fan of the book, I'm pretty hyped. I know how you feel, dude. I definitely know how you feel. Let's see. Anything else? Do we have anything else? It's like the pigs won and the animals did nothing. It's a shame it's a shame that BoJack Horseman won't be in this. Oh, good God. BoJack Horseman won't even be involved with freaking Animal Farm. That dude is just way too lazy to even work on anything. So that's the thing. BoJack wouldn't even survive in the Animal Farm. Just saying. Okay, so I think with all that said and done, I think we're pretty much good right now with all these stories. And now it is time that we shall go ahead onto the grand finale. And for this grand finale, considering that we are a little bit dry in animation news and stuff like that, I do feel like this is actually a pretty good time right now to go and tell you a little bit of an exclusive story where I might as well go ahead and talk to you guys about my little vacation. So, in this little section of in this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a summary and show you some pictures of many of the highlights of the things that I have done throughout my California vacation. So, the big thing with my California vacation is that I went there for a little over 10 days, where I would go to several places in California, where I would go and discuss about stuff, where not discuss, but I would pretty much go into stuff like Los Angeles, Hollywood, Disneyland in Anaheim, Morro Bay, and also San Francisco. So I do have some pictures that I would like to present to you guys. So here they are right now. So the first picture that you do see here we go. So the first picture you see right over here, this was actually a picture I took. And for those of you who are just listening, I will do the best that I can to go and describe what is currently going on. So right now, what you see, the first picture right over here, this is actually the first picture I actually took. It was on the airplane, and I actually got a good view. I believe this is actually the Grand Canyon. Since we flew over Nevada, and we actually got an amazing view of like the canyons and stuff like that. It just looks amazing. And the first thing that we actually did, once we did arrive in California, we pretty much stayed in the Los Angeles airport. Well, not necessarily. We stayed around that area, and we stayed in one of those hotels. Mainly because everywhere else is actually really expensive due to the fact that we were actually, me and my parents, we were actually there immediately on the first day, and it was the San Diego Comic-Con, which no, we did not actually go into. Like, we've already got some stuff planned to do as it is, and it would be too insane and way too hectic to go into the San Diego Comic-Con anyways. So the first thing that we went and did, so as you can see, one of the first pictures I took is actually... the first thing we did is actually we decided to go and walk around Hollywood Boulevard just to see how things are. And this is actually me in front of the Grauman's Egyptian Theater. We just stumbled upon it, and it definitely looks nice. So I figured, why not just stop by and just take a picture. And the first thing that we have done, the first thing that you actually do once you are in Hollywood Boulevard, the first thing you will immediately notice is actually the Walk of Fame. And I've taken several pictures of the Walk of Fame, and like, I took a whole bunch of pictures, but I'm only going to be highlighting you the ones that I have seen myself. So I saw Dr. Seuss, then I found Rugrats, which is definitely one of the weirdest animated editions, considering that, like, with Rugrats, this is the only one from Nickelodeon. Like, we don't see a Fairly Odd Parents one, we don't see a SpongeBob one, but somehow Rugrats actually did get one. Then we also got, right over here, this is me with the Donald Duck one. This is the good Donald. This is not the racist dictator Donald. This is actually... in a little corner. This is near the El Capitan Theater, and in there we do see a lot of the Disney related ones. Like, we also got Winnie the Pooh, we also got Disneyland, which they honored for Disneyland's 50th anniversary. We also got Tinkerbell, and yeah, and also I have to have a picture with the Muppets. You know, I gotta have, you know, the Muppets are there, so I have to take a picture with the Muppets. And also, oh yeah, this one. Apparently, yeah, John Lasseter had one, or as I would like to call it, the future space for Pete Docter. But also, yes, we got Minnie Mouse right over here, and by the way, this is a picture of my mom. We also got Alan Menken on the side. Of course, as a film critic, I got to pay my respects to my main man, Roger Ebert. Also, I mean, I've done an animation look back on the guy, so I found one of Ray Harryhausen. Also found, of course, the voice of Scrooge McDuck himself, Alan Young. Oh, this one is a really popular one. You would be surprised how many people they immediately crowd the Mickey Mouse one, so I got lucky that I found a moment. Oh, yes, and also everyone's Lord and Savior right over here. We got Shrek. I also found Bugs Bunny and also some of the directors as well. I got Chuck Jones, and you'll see in the future, you'll see a little bit ahead. I also got one with Friz Freleng. Of course, we got Big Bird. We got The Simpsons, and this is a double one. I got Snoopy in the bottom, and we got Matt Groening on top. And of course, well, this is the star is upside down because, like, we have to work with the lighting. But of course, I found the one of Walt Disney. And of course, here it is. This is the one with Friz Freleng. And also, I did find one of Woody Woodpecker and also his creator, Walter Lantz. And then, of course, I found a Snow White one, which is surprisingly pretty far from all the other Disney ones. Also, another one that is so dear to my heart, Kermit the Frog. And we got the Hanna-Barbera star. And, of course, this is a better picture with Walt Disney, but this is the second one for television. And this is the last one that I found that I really love, which is the Jim Henson one, which I found on a different day. Okay, so that's all the stars that I have found. Did you get near one for Harry Potter? Well, there isn't one for Harry Potter, but that is actually another really popular one, the Daniel Radcliffe one. Yes, and also, yes, I found Godzilla. Anyways, let's get back to the main pictures that I have. So, of course, in Hollywood Boulevard, you will find many of the big theaters. So I found the Egyptian Theater. This is the Dolby Theater, where they actually have the Academy Awards presented in there. And when you go inside, it's actually really, really nice. They even have a lot of podiums where they would have many different years. And on those years, they actually write down the Best Picture winner. And they're all set for, like, for many years to come. Like, they would go up to, like, 2070 or something like that. Like, there are a lot of them that are vacant for, like, the upcoming years. And here I am right over here with the legendary Grauman's Chinese Theater. So for me, it was really exciting to see the original theater, like the original great movie ride. So this definitely was a major highlight for my trip, and definitely excited to see on my first day in California. And right over here, you do see the El Capitan Theater, the official old theater that is actually owned by Disney, considering that they do have a Disney store right beside it as well. And pretty fitting that we do have a relaxing picture of Helen Parr right in the middle, because the El Capitan Theater, what it did is that it's pretty much totally advertising Incredibles 2. Like, I was pretty much there before Christopher Robin was released, because I'm pretty sure right now, if you go to the El Capitan Theater, they're pretty much advertising like crazy Christopher Robin, so that could be the case. The next day, immediately, what I did is that I went to go to Santa Monica Beach, and me and my family, we decided to go and check out the pier, in which they were actually celebrating Shark Week. So Discovery was having a special promotion, and there's a lot of, like, special shark exhibits where you see a lot of sharks that are made out of different materials. Like, hold on a sec. Trying to figure out how to do it. No. Hold on a sec. Okay, there we go. Just need to learn how to fix this up. There we go. Just to give you guys a little bit of a better view. So this is like a shark made out of plastic bottles. And they were actually handing out some free, like, foam hats. So this is in order to promote Shark Week, which was actually during the week that I was in California. And throughout the whole time that I was in there, like, throughout the whole time I was in Santa Monica, I was actually wearing this shark hat throughout the whole time. And I turned a lot of heads. They were all curious. I was like, oh, where did you get that hat? Well, I got it at the pier. And I was definitely happy as a clam. I mean, like, I got this shark hat all the time. So, you know, it did make me feel happy. Hold on a sec. Can we continue? Hello? Just want to make... There we go. We can activate this. Also, at the same time... hold on a sec. There we go. In the pier, there was actually an entire amusement park happening at the same time. And it was definitely a fun place to look at. So I definitely had it. Like, it was one of those things where I didn't really do much, but I definitely had a blast looking around the stuff in Santa Monica. Oh yeah, and here's me being a rebel, where they said that you're not allowed to have electric scooters, but I decided, screw it, I'm gonna go ride one. Whee! So that was definitely a lot of fun. Oh, and this thing right over here. Okay, so I just want to say right now that if you guys are an animation fan, then this is a place that you gotta go. The Van Eaton Gallery, or the Van Eaton Gallery's animation art. It's such an incredible place. I highly recommend that you guys go and check it out. It is actually in Ventura. It's actually in Ventura Boulevard. It's actually pretty close to Sherman Oaks, and it's an amazing place. While I was there, though, they were a little bit in renovation because they have a little bit of an auction that's coming up that's based on so many different Disneyland attractions. And in there, they still have like so many animation drawings. They have so many production cells. They have so many model sheets, and it's coming from like so many different studios, from like Hanna-Barbera, from Don Bluth, from Disney. And, it's just like you could spend hours being lost in there. And the owners of the place, they're very nice. They're very chill. Great people to talk about animation and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun. And also, yes, I went and bought myself an animation cell. I bought one of the less expensive ones, but that's because I know that when I'm going to be in my next destination, I'll be spending a lot of stuff. So I got this right here. It is actually a production cell, which is actually signed by Don Bluth, of Stanley from A Troll in Central Park. I know A Troll in Central Park is a stupid animated feature, but it's one of my childhood animated films, and I figured, it's just $200. I figured, why not? I'm gonna go ahead and get this one. So I really am happy that I got this, and pretty soon I'll go and find a frame so that I could officially hang this on my wall. So yeah, I got an animation cell of A Troll in Central Park. But you gotta admit, like, for A Troll in Central Park, this is actually the best one to get. I mean, like, you got Stanley that is very prominent in here. It's signed by Don Bluth, and also, like, you got a bonus flower character. So that's really awesome. And again, I highly recommend you guys go and check out the Van Eaton Gallery. And then also, oh yes, this is another day where me and my family, we decided to go a little bit on a journey, and it was actually quite surprising, where this is a major journey in itself, to find the legendary Hollywood sign. Now, this actually took us a while to go and find, but we did manage to find it. And if you guys are actually if you guys are going on a trip to SoCal and you want to find the Hollywood sign, the best place to go, and remember this, the best place to actually go is in Lake Hollywood Park. This is where me and my family ended up. We found a place, and it gives us a pretty good view. Now, it does seem pretty far away from where we are, but we did get the best view where we could find it. Like, this is a close-up shot, and I mean, it's very prominent, and it just definitely looks great. It's one of those things that you keep hearing about, you keep seeing so much in movies, and seeing it like on its own right now, like actually seeing the thing, it is actually really, really cool. So from there, oh yes, and like after we found the sign, oh, there is actually a place I forgot to mention. We actually did go to another place beforehand, before we went back into Hollywood Boulevard, is that we actually went and go and check out, we decided to go and check out Rodeo Drive. So we actually went into Beverly Hills, and honestly, it's not necessarily a place I was interested in, because like that's where the major fashion area is, like where you go and find like the Dolce & Gabbanas, the Gucci's, and all that kind of stuff. And that's where you go into stores and you find dresses where they are a little bit weird, but they are stupidly expensive. Like, I remember I picked up, like, this fur coat or something like that, and it was, like, $14,000. Like, it's one of those things where it's, like, the stupidly expensive store, like, a stupidly expensive store, and I did actually see a couple of people who actually did purchase something, and when you do actually purchase something in Rodeo Drive, you actually do get some champagne. It's, like, a reason to celebrate, because you literally spent thousands of dollars on a piece of freaking clothing. It's ridiculous. But anyways, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and go back onto Hollywood Boulevard, where I actually stumbled upon a premiere. And yeah, like this was something I didn't know about. It was unexpected, but apparently, at the Chinese theater, they were actually having a premiere of Teen Titans Go to the movies. And during lunch, I decided to look up what was going on. Now, I didn't actually check it out myself. Like, the tickets were already sold, and when I arrived, I think the movie was already done. But, like, already, some of the major stars were actually there. Like, some of the voice actors, like Tara Strong was already there. Kristen Bell was there, and some of the singers. Like, they were already within the Chinese theater to check out Teen Titans Go to the movies. But it was actually pretty cool to actually stumble upon an actual premiere in Hollywood. And not just that, an actual premiere at the Chinese theater. Now, that was something that was actually really awesome. So, that was a cool thing that I stumbled upon. Ah, yes, and this is another day that actually I went into a studio, and me and my family, we actually went to go and check out Jeopardy. We actually went to go and see a live recording of 2 episodes of Jeopardy, and that is actually a fact that you guys might not know about me, is that I am a major Jeopardy watcher. Me and my family, we would watch that every single day just to get, like, you know, just to answer some of the clues and stuff like that and participate a little bit. It's a lot of fun. So we actually went and go see Jeopardy, and it really was cool because we do get to see a lot of the little galleries of Jeopardies, and we actually did see Alex Trebek himself and had a little chat with him. It was actually a lot of fun. And we actually did see a taping of Jeopardy. Now, the episodes, when I'm actually going to go check it out, when they're actually going to be on TV, they actually did mention it, considering that it is also, like, when we saw it, it was actually the 35th anniversary of Jeopardy. And from there, we actually also saw the, what was it? Oh, yes, what we saw, it's actually going to be airing on TV, I believe, on September 27th up to September 28th. It is going to be in the last full month, or in the last full week of September. That's when that episode is going to air. Rather, if you're actually going to see me, maybe, I don't know, but if you do see the audience, try to look for, like, this bright blue fedora hat. That's when you are actually going to find it. From there, but also, I just want to mention right now, if you guys know about Jeopardy and stuff like that, there is actually one shocking fact that some of you might not actually know. Because the thing is, in order to go to Jeopardy, I would have to be, well, you probably don't see it that well, but I was at Sony Pictures. Yes, folks, I actually was on the lot of Sony Pictures Entertainment to go and check out Jeopardy. Now, don't worry, nobody noticed me, nobody caught me or anything like that, but yes, this is actually the closest that I've ever been to Sony Pictures Animation, but we were only there for Jeopardy. But yeah, I thought I would mention that, yes, I was actually at Sony Pictures. Okay, but just want to double check on something. Oh, yes, okay. Now, the next thing, so that's pretty much my whole thing with Los Angeles. I didn't do everything. I didn't go into the city, but that's pretty much a whole summary of what I have done in the Los Angeles area. I just want to know, does anybody have any questions or anything like that before I continue to my next destination? Just want to know if anybody would have any kind of questions. Sony Pictures? No, it's just, yes, formerly the legendary MGM Studios. Yes, that is true. Before Sony came in and bought the lot, it was the home of MGM, where they did actually film The Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, oh, don't go to the city. Oh, you mean LA city. Okay. No, but I thought you mentioned the city around Sony Pictures, because in Culver City, oh boy, that place is as much of a dump as Sony's movies. Oh boy. It was, yeah, you can't really do too much in Culver City. It wasn't all that great of a place. I mean, you know it's bad when a highlight of Culver City is mostly a Best Buy. Alright, let's see. Yeah, Okay, yeah, I should have been in the Paramount. We did pass by the Paramount building, actually. We did pass by the Paramount Studios entirely. That was actually pretty cool. Let's see. Am I planning to go to the STNX Animation Expo in November? No, 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 no. No, I would tell you if I would go back into Los Angeles for any stuff, but okay. Okay, so I think with that said, I think we could go ahead and move on to the next place, in which I will tell you right now, it is pretty much my highlight. Yes, I went into the place, the happiest place on earth to all who come to this happy place. Welcome! Disneyland is your land. I've had such high expectations for Disneyland, and my God, it definitely met them. Oh my God, I was so excited to go and check out Disneyland, and especially the fact that I can now officially say that I have been into every single non-Asian Disney park. I've been to Disneyland Paris, I've been to Disney World many times, and I have been, of course, on to Disneyland. And, of course, like, I went into both places, both Disneyland and also onto Disney's California Adventure. And, my God, it was such an amazing place. I've had a lot of fun in there. Unfortunately, I did get sick, but even at that, that wasn't going to stop me from having fun at Disneyland and to do most of the stuff that I have done. Now, I didn't do everything that I wanted to do at Disneyland. I didn't do, like, all the major attractions. Like, I didn't do Space Mountain. I didn't do Star Tours. I didn't do Indiana Jones. I didn't do the Matterhorn. I didn't do any of those big rides, but I did do about 90% of the stuff that I wanted to do, and I really am happy for that. So there have been a lot of rides that I've went into, and honestly, it was just amazing. And I've had no, I didn't do Mission Breakout. I don't think I was really interested in doing that anyways, especially with when I immediately got sick. But there are a lot of rides that I enjoyed going into, and from there, like, also I shopped around like crazy. Like, I got a buttload of Tsum Tsums, and I got a buttload of pins. And in terms of the rides that I've been into, I've been in a lot, but I will say there are some that I really enjoyed. And of course, I did a lot of the original stuff, which is amazing to get into, like the original It's a Small World, the original Pirates of the Caribbean, which, yes, after going through Disney World several times, like, this is definitely the better one. And I did do, it is the updated one with the new auction scene, of course. And I did, and also I will say, like, Pirates and Soarin' were the ones that we did twice. And it was amazing. And especially Soarin' was a great highlight. Soarin' was phenomenal. Like, holy crap. This is the new Soarin' where they go around the world. And it was absolutely beautiful. Like, it was definitely great. But I will say, our favorite, like, if you ask any of us, what was our favorite ride that we have been, it was hands down the last one that we have done. It was actually Radiator Springs Racers. Like, that ride, like, it was probably the best thing that Disney has ever done with a mediocre movie. It really was that incredible. Like, first of all, like, you got the little sideshow where, like, you start by going around Radiator Springs and meet up with the characters. And it is insane because, like, the animatronics that are in there, like, they really do feel like the real deal. Like, it's literally, they took the characters from the movies and they put it in the ride. And it's like, it's amazing. It's like, I saw you. Like, I saw you in the movies. It is insane. Like, holy crap. And then you actually get into the actual ride itself, and it was a lot of fun. Like, Radiator Springs is amazing, and especially, like, the area outside of it as well, by taking the entirety of Radiator Springs and bring it to life for Cars Land. It was absolutely beautiful. It really does feel like you got into the world of Cars. So I really got to give major props to the to the Disney Imagineers. It really was that amazing. So yeah, Radiator Springs was definitely a true highlight in there, and I definitely had a lot of fun at Disneyland, so I definitely want to go back in there. So yeah, I really had a lot of fun at Disneyland. Really amazing place and a true highlight of my California vacation. So it was great going back into a Disney park. I definitely had a blast there. All right, so our next destination that we went into, now our next big destination was pretty much San Francisco, but it did take us a few days to go there. But we did stop by a few areas at the same time, including this little place right over here, which is known as Hertz Castle. And Hertz Castle is a stupidly big castle that is in the middle of nowhere. It's like in the middle of a giant hill in California. And the story of Hertz Castle, it's basically the tale of a man who just has way too much money because his family his family made a fortune during the California Gold Rush, and he decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to build a castle. So he hired the first American woman architect to go and create this giant castle for him that people during the 30s and 40s that they would go and hang out. And it's just ridiculous. It really is just the story of a man who just has way too much money. All right, but also, at one point we did stop by in an area where we actually found a whole bunch of elephant seals. And when you see them in real life, it is absolutely insane when you see them. Because the thing is, with these elephant seals, they are massive. And even when you're you're in an area where you're far away, you don't want to be in front of these things. And like these elephant seals, like they're huge. They say that they go up to 12 to 16 feet and they weigh around 5,000 pounds. And just watching them, like they're mostly lazing around, but they do move a lot. I will say that. So that's another big highlight. We saw a bunch of elephant seals and it's actually quite crazy. So from there, we finally so a few days later, we actually did make it to San Francisco. And one of our stops is actually something that my dad wanted to do. This was something he wanted to do all his life, and that is actually check out a prison. Not just any prison, though. We went and checked out Alcatraz prison. So we're right here at the dock, but we did actually make it to the area. And this is, when you go into Alcatraz prison, it's actually a very freaky place. It really is. Alcatraz prison is no joke. It's like one of the worst prisons out there. And when I say one of the worst prisons, I don't mean like it sucks and people escape there all the time. I mean, like, if you end up in prison in Alcatraz, you are screwed. That means you're one of the worst criminals in America, and you're going to be living in hell. In fact, some of the most notorious criminals are in there, and like some of the most well-known names includes there's this criminal mastermind named Birdman, and of course, Al Capone. This is where Al Capone is in prison, and they are quite freaky. Oh yeah, and this is a picture that I shared in on Twitter where I ended up in jail. There was one open cell, and trust me, when you're in one of those little areas, they are absolutely freaky. Like, this is like a claustrophobia's nightmare. It is that bad. So that's kind of the big thing about Alcatraz prison, and it trust me, it really is quite a scary place to be in, but it is really fascinating to learn about Alcatraz prison. Right now, it's no longer a functioning prison. They closed it off in 1963, but you could still go and do a lot of tours, and yeah, it is quite freaky though, I will say. And then finally, there is one more place that I went into, and this is the day before I came back home, where I went into the Walt Disney Family Museum. And by the way, I haven't shaven for a week, so yeah, I do have a bit of a fuzzy face on me, so which is very rare because I shave all the time. Like I don't want to have a beard on me, but during my trip I decided, screw it, I'm sick, I'm not gonna shave. I'll just see what happens. So. But yeah, I did make it to the Walt Disney Family Museum, which is a beautiful area. And if you are a Disney fan, and if you're somehow in the San Francisco area, this is a place where you gotta be in. This is a place you definitely gotta check out, with many different exhibits chronicling the entire life of Walt Disney from his very beginnings in Marceline, Missouri, all the way up to his death. and it's such an amazing place filled with a lot of different stuff from the collection of Walt Disney himself, including his personal collection of trophies. But also a major highlight that they got in the area is actually this thing right over here. You don't really see it that much, but this is an entire diorama, or an entire like giant replica of Walt Disney's vision of Disneyland. And this is the one, like, this is the last one before he passed away, like many of his ideas, where you see Disneyland and you see the many different areas, and you even see attractions of places that Walt Disney has yet to create. Like, you do see dioramas of, like, Space Mountain or Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean and all that kind of stuff. Like, you do see the Disneyland that Walt Disney originally thought of, and it's such a beautiful diorama. I wish I had a better picture, but this is something that you guys got to see for yourself. It's grand, it's beautiful, it is worth seeing. And of course, this is another major highlight. One of the very few places in the world that actually does still have one. This is me with the legendary multiplane camera. Now, if you don't know what the multiplane camera is, that's basically the camera that has been used for many of their classic cartoons and for many of their first movies like Fantasia, Pinocchio, Snow White, and many more. This is what they would use in order to make, in order to give the illusion of depth in an animated film, where you see like when you slowly zoom into like within a forest and stuff like that. It really is a very fascinating camera to go and check out. But yeah, this is pretty much my entire tour of the Walt Disney Family Museum. If you guys are in San Francisco, I highly recommend you go and check it out. But in terms of the other places in San Francisco, sadly, we didn't really do a whole bunch, especially the fact that we were sick. And also, we couldn't really see much because there was a lot of fog. Like this thing right over here. You guys might not believe it, but this is the Golden Gate Bridge. Like all I saw was just the bridge part. I didn't actually see the actual part that makes it the Golden Gate Bridge. Like, this is all that I've seen from the bridge alone. Like, I couldn't see jack all. And, like, we did take a little tour around San Francisco, but there really wasn't much to see except for, like, maybe how, like, the areas were pretty much, like, major hills. And, yes, it did feel like going around Sonic Adventure 2 battle, where, like, even when I'm going around the city of San Francisco, like, in my mind, all I was thinking is just rolling around at the speed of sound, got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. You know, it's just stuff like that. And that's pretty much my whole trip. And right at the end, when I did arrive home, I was still sick. I still had a little bit of jet lag, but it wasn't me. Like, I immediately had to go back to work. And originally, I wanted to advance a little bit on my work, but unfortunately, because I was sick, I wasn't able to. So I had to go and immediately crank out my review of Teen Titans Go to the Movies. So even though I did have jet lag, I did have a lot of fatigue from my sickness, I still pushed hard in order to go and do that review of Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which I did manage to release this week. So that is my entire story of my trip in California, and that's just the whole summary of it. So just want to know, do you guys have any more questions of what happened? Do you guys have any questions about some of the stuff that I've done in California, like in San Francisco and Disneyland and Los Angeles and Hollywood? Like, do you guys have any questions overall? But I will say that is this something that I would like to do again? Not necessarily exactly like how I did before. I would love to go back without getting sick, but I would say that I would definitely love to do some of the stuff again and try to do some of the things I have yet to do, like at Disneyland or in Los Angeles and stuff like that. Did I meet characters in Disneyland? No, not necessarily. We weren't looking for characters. We just mainly wanted to do the rides. But, like, we did see a lot of the regular characters like Goofy, Mickey, Minnie, Pluto. Like, we did see them, but we didn't get a chance to, like, get a picture or have their autograph and stuff like that. Did you get the statue of Walt? I did get a picture of me with the statue of Walt. Actually, both of them. Like, the one at Disneyland and also the one in California Adventure, of course. Will you guys go back for D23 next year? That will be a wait and see. But for now, we just want to relax after all the stuff that we have done. So, we just want to take a little break from the one that we've already done, now. Let's see. Did I see the Cordy Films house? No, I don't think I did. I don't think I did. Okay, I think, with all that said, though, I think we should be all good. So, that is our episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Whoo, boy, I will say it is great to be back, and hopefully next week we will have a lot more crazy animation news that's going on right now. But I just want to say right now for you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your great support. It's definitely been a lot of fun, and hopefully next time I will be a lot better. I won't have any of my sickness. I won't have any of my jet lags. So hopefully it'll work things out. So until next time, see you later, dudes!